For many Bitcoin supporters, the past year has been really difficult. We remember all these stories that how Bitcoin would continue to go up. It'd go up to $1 million a Bitcoin, $100,000, $10,000, whatever the price range was. We heard stories that you were going to get rich owning a Bitcoin. Well, next thing we know it, we saw Mt. Gox. They went under. We saw many people lose their life savings, lose a lot of money. A lot of people who were on the gold and silver bandwagon, they went to the Bitcoin bandwagon. So it seemed really, really awkward. So right now I'm over at CoinDesk. And if you look at this exchange over here, you can see that it was roughly $1,000 a Bitcoin, or 980. And it went all the way into the late hundreds or high hundreds, early 200s. And we see the price right now at $215 a Bitcoin. Now, what does this mean? You've seen over a 70 to 80% correction in many of these exchanges. Some could be much more than the 70 to 80% correction in these ranges or in these exchanges. That being said, I believe that we're getting to a level that is closer to the pre-pump and dump operation committed by some of our favorite alternative media hosts. I'm not going to mention their names, but they are on large, or one of them is on a RT platform, or he's on an RT channel. And I'm going to leave it at that. Anyways, you saw when this individual was pumping up this asset, if you want to call it that, it was under $200 a Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden you saw Chinese buying, you saw buying from other individuals that we didn't know who it came from. We also saw Chinese speculation, and it got up to all the way to $945 a Bitcoin, or close to $980 a Bitcoin. That's a huge move. You have to remember that Bitcoin in 2011, it got to a penny. It was less than $1, and you saw this huge appreciation of the price of Bitcoin. So, such a large move within a short period of time. I said that, hey, you know what? I do believe that Bitcoin is going to come back, but you need a flush out of this dumb money that came in much higher, at least above $400. Those guys are going to get wiped out, in my opinion. Fast forward a year later. We know that Mt. Gox doesn't exist anymore. We know that many people lost their life savings in Bitcoins. We know that the mainstream media and the alternative media is not covering Bitcoins to the extent that it was. You just hear negative sentiment from Bitcoins. People really don't talk about it anymore. And now, at CoinDesk, the price is $215 a Bitcoin. Okay, now we could look at the volume of Bitcoin, if you want to go back all the way to March 2013. So what happened all the way in April 2013? You had Max Keiser go on the Alex Jones show touting Bitcoins and how amazing it was. Do you know what happened also in April of 2013? You had the Cyprus bail-in situation. So this is quite interesting. You saw a price rise starting from that moment on in April 2013. And next thing you know it, you also had the Cyprus event. So, if you put the two events together, you could have seen that investors were really scared of what was going to go on in Cyprus. In addition to that, they wanted a place to park their money. They were scared of putting money in banks, so what do? They put in Bitcoins. And the volume of Bitcoins surged at that time. The volume also surged in December 2013. Remember, that was close to the high, or that the high was reached in December 2013. And now, if you want to see another point where you're starting to see a little bit of volume pick up, it's right now. I haven't seen significant volume to make me change my mind about the price of Bitcoin. And this is the output volume, by the way. But long story short, if we want to see a price rise like we did in April of 2013, which I believe will happen with the instability of our banking system, what I think is going to happen is when you see, or if we see another bank run or bail-in situation like we did in Cyprus, I believe we're going to see volume spike up. you're going to see more buying in the Bitcoins. Now, the question is, when is the price of Bitcoin going to rise up? And another clue is you're going to see all these individuals who were once bullish on Bitcoin, they're not going to be talking about Bitcoins to the extent that they were propping it up. I mean, still, you're going to see some quotes and these messages by Max Keiser talking about Bitcoins and some of the other alternative currencies that he likes. However, you don't see more of that these days because a lot of Bitcoiners are dissatisfied. So if you see more and more Bitcoiners saying that Bitcoin is dead, and you see a lot of people cheering on the stock market saying that, hey, central banking is fantastic, there are no problems with what the Federal Reserve and other central banks are doing, I think on the contrary side, those individuals who do invest in Bitcoins will be making some money, making great returns out of this. Now the question is, when? Right? That's the million-dollar question. A lot of people still don't have faith in Bitcoins, but the reality is the central banking system is so messed up that people will flock into assets that we would be surprised where they would flock into. Some people are flocking to the long bond, some people are flocking into cash, some people are flocking into precious metal, while some people are going to be flocking into Bitcoin because they don't know how the world's going to be without, if we have a bank run situation or a bail-in situation. So that's the way that I look at it. I wouldn't go long Bitcoin now, in my opinion. I can't tell you what to do, but this is just me thinking out loud. I wouldn't go long over here. But if we start to see a lot of individuals start to lose confidence in our system, I think that's when the Bitcoin blues will be over. Alright guys, thanks for listening to me, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.